It's video time, sucker! So there I was, sort of moving through this month of October, thinking that I probably won't end up doing some sort of episode of Twit, not even probably a monthly catch-up, because it looked as though it might be the first month, the first entire length of 4 weeks, 28 days, however long you want to categorise a month, of me not having any new figures to show you whatsoever. It is now sort of, I suppose it's within the last 7 days of October. It's not the last week because the 31st is like during a week. But I have finally managed to pick up something. Now, a few factors sort of play in the fact that I haven't been able to get a lot. Number one, me not really having any money. Number two, there being nothing around. So, of course, with those factors combined, there's just no chance of me showing you anything here. But I was lucky. I went out, jaunt around shops, found a good few bits that were reduced. Didn't actually buy anything that was properly reduced. Finally found some new Cyberverse Commanders in Sainsbury's, and they had a hard shell there, and I was like, whoa! And I was £1 short, even though they were reduced, to get one of those. So I just finally found, because once I found these in the first place, along with Blight, which was the last thing I showed you, they vanished from everywhere, and there's just, nowhere has restocked properly on any figures. And when I went to a certain smaller, because there's two Tesco's around near me, I went to the smaller one, and for the past 4 weeks they've had the same 2 Legion figures on the shelf in exactly the same position, as if no one touches that shelf at all ever, apart from me. And I was just lucky to stumble into Sainsbury's and find these, and thankfully get it at a reduced price, even though I was fully prepared to throw the full £5 at it. It's an Air Viacon. Yeah, that's quite a lot of build-up for a pretty anticlimactic sort of bot. That's pretty much how I felt. When I first saw this guy, I thought, oh, actually, yeah, he looks pretty cool, interesting. You know, I wasn't expecting this guy to show up in the wave with Blight and Ripper Snapper, because in America he's like a whale all to himself. But we've had revision stuff, so everything's different. Yeah, I was surprised to see this guy when I first saw him, but I thought, no, I'm going to get Blight instead, and then didn't see him for ages, and now I've got him, and it's a bit like, ooh. He's nice, I guess. I want to say he's once again another properly good Cyberverse figure, but he's not great. I mean, he sort of suffers the same problem as ones like Smokescreen do that I've mentioned before, where they've just got really straight limbs, only bend at the top. So posing is like nigh on impossible, and it just doesn't look good. If you try and, like, you know, move his legs, it's just like that. You have to have things moving and looking awkwardly, like you're doing some sort of silly walk or a goose step or something. At least he's got ankles, I suppose, as part of transformation. That could sort of add something, so you can at least make it like he's walking normally. But anything else, it doesn't look right. If you just have him stood there, it's okay, but then you put his arms up and it's like, it just looks silly. But he's a very nice purple colour, and if you sort of catch bits of it right, it makes this sort of lovely sort of opalescent sheen. It's not really shiny, not a lot of it, but especially the bits on the back of his legs that make the sort of hood of the flying car mode thingy. If you catch that in the light, it's sort of, yeah, opalescent, I think is the right word for that. Looks nice. Comes with another silly chainsaw I'd sort of rather not have so many of, but at least it's better than gummy see-through things. Because this is the only bot I've got to talk about, and we'll probably end up stretching out talking about the smallest price point figure for about a good 6 minutes, I'd imagine. Let's transform him while I speak and show you his funny flying car mode. It's odd, definitely. It's really long, and it's not in scale with the other Viacon. I mean, in robot mode they look really sort of similar and sort of spot on to be the same size, the same dude, just this one's got wings on him. When you put this up against a little Viacon car, this is too small, or maybe the other one's too big, because if you compare them properly by the size of the windshield, this is a lot bigger than a car. So it's not just a car with wings stuck on it, it is just a flat jet thing. I don't know, it's got full swept wings, it's purple, pointy, I like it. Only downside I can sort of mention is to put his chainsaw somewhere. There isn't anywhere. I want it to go here, where there's this sort of screw on the top. It needs a central position, but you have to go and stick it on one of the sides, his wings, or there are ports on the sides here, but you can't get it on there at a straight angle. So I guess it's best to just forget about the chainsaw forever and just enjoy having a flappy purple flying car with extreme visible head. So that was my £3.32's worth of enjoyment for this week, or this month. But that's not the only thing I've got to talk about. Like Dorian mentioned in a very recent video, I too have got a copy of More Than Meets the Eye 22, and a very good issue it was too. I suddenly realised that I haven't spoken about new comics in a very long time. Might have been like, I don't know, number 10 More Than Meets the Eye was the last time I showed on the camera. I don't know. Check back through my videos because I won't be bothered to. Yeah, just a really good issue. It's sort of, yeah, it's a properly good end cap for this sort of first run of More Than Meets the Eye before it goes into Dark Cybertron. Yeah, just really fun. Just captures the whole essence of the entire story. All the just good, fun moments of a load of robots mucking about in space having an adventure. No one dies. There's no great cataclysmic events. There's no last page shocking reveals. It's just good fun, and it's yeah, fun. It's funny, good humour. It's just a romp, and it's got James Ray's art, and that just makes me go yeah. And it ticks all these sort of Armada nostalgia boxes, especially when you see the little group of guys who I assume are going to be sort of retconned into the Minicon 3-pack that we're getting with the Generations line. They're not called Minicons, they're called Stentarians, are these Ammonites, I think these guys are. But honestly, they're small guys, they combine into a big guy, they're green. This has to be what the Minicon 3-pack combiner that was revealed at BotCon is. It must be. It can't be anything else, surely. And especially when this is going to be an issue that is packed in with the Skids toy, it would just be silly of them not to then promote another toy. So that's what I'm seeing from this. We're getting IDW Universe Minicons. And because they're drawn by James Ray's and look like that, and sort of fuel the fires of Armada comic nostalgia is in my breast. Yeah, these are Minicons to me. I don't care what they're called. So there's that, yeah. Honestly, if you haven't gotten to the More Than Meets the Eye bandwagon yet, and I don't know why you wouldn't, then this issue is a good jumping on point to then go forward into the big epic crossover with Robots in Disguise that is Dark Cybertron that's coming, and then move along into the next season of More Than Meets the Eye, as it's called. Just, yeah, fun. The final thing to talk about is something that's not related to Transformers at all. The second wave of Pacific Rim figures has finally sort of hit, and I managed to get a Striker Eureka. Or should I say, Striker Eureka? G'day mate, he's the Australian Jaeger. Ho ho! Put a shrimp on the barbie. And more stereotypes. I did want this figure. He is, in my opinion, the best looking Jaeger from the film. But, like Gypsy Danger, this figure's a little bit of a disappointment. And even more so because he moves even less than Gypsy Danger does. And that was a really limited figure, and this guy's even worse, and it's like, oh. But at least he has a good design, and that can sort of be forgiving. Yeah, his arms move better, I guess. He's actually got proper elbows, his arms go straight and then go to 90 degrees, rather than just moving in a 2 degree sort of range. Shoulders move nicely, all of that, yeah. His wrists sort of do that, they don't swivel around. He's got these sort of scissor blade things that can move out of the way, but are so extremely sharp, it's like insane. I can see why this toy is aimed at 14 and up, because do not give this to a kid. Seriously, do not. They will stab out their own throat, because I nearly did. These are, yeah, they're not nice. He hasn't got anything in his torso, or maybe he has, and mine's just extremely stiff, so it doesn't move at the waist. Anyone else got one of these? Can tell me, because mine does not move. Yeah, hips, same thing. They don't really go out very far. They wobble about, and they don't move a lot. And his knees don't really move very far. And ankles, forget about it. There's a ball joint in here, but there's no sort of sculpted space to allow anything to move, so it's just not worth using as a joint. So yeah, a bit of disappointment with Striker Eureka here, especially as news has come out that NECA want to make all the upcoming Pacific Rim figures properly articulated, and we're getting like a Coyote Tango, the one that's like flashback to in the film. That has got proper articulation. It's got swivels at the hips and the biceps and all of that goodness. but it's the one that received the less screen time out of all of them. So I can only really hope that they're going to go back and take these Jaegers, like Strike Eureka and Gypsy Danger and all the others, and give them proper articulation that they deserve, and not just leave us with these sort of mildly posable statues that they've given us here. But I still like it, and of course, you know, if a new version comes out, this will then become the more sought after one because it's rarer and older and first run, or I don't know. Oddly, if you could have smell-o-vision, you would be smelling this thing. It smells like it looks. It smells like petrol and oil and just a machine. I think that's because of some of the paint, like some of the stuff on his chest, all these sort of silvery bits. It's not really applied that well. It looks like it would sort of be watery paint when it was put on. It gives a sort of odd, slightly rusty look to these bits as well, and I'm pretty sure that's where the smell's coming from. Solvents! Well, that's everything for this week, but before I sign off, I just want to show you a little thing I've made with all my Constructbots bits. You might notice that the boxes up on the shelves there are bereft of their plastic containers. That's because I cracked them open, took everything apart, put it all back together again into some sort of awesome abomination. I'm not sure what to call this thing. If you have any name suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment. I just finally had some fun mixing and matching Soundwave and Wheeljack's parts properly. This is crazy and I love it, and the fact that I've been able to make this sort of thing is just lovely and scratches a bit of the itch that I miss from Bionicle dying. It's a little bit Gundam actually, I'm seeing. I've never really had any affiliation to that brand, but I'm seeing a lot of sort of design touches. I've made this to look a bit super robot-y in that regard. I've given him a shield that can move around and go over his hand, and I've fashioned some sort of, I don't know, it's a rifle I guess. I've given it a scope and a thin and longer pointier barrel, and I just like the fact that I've only got 2 Constructbots and I've been able to make them into this ungodly, just over the top super robot Japanese school of super robot. Yeah, on his back loads of turbines and wings and fins, and they all move, and there's guns, and I've sort of filled out all the holes and made him beefier by putting all the different bits of armour on his arms, and I'm just quite proud of it, and I just wanted to show it off and, you know, reinforce my point that I've made many times before, that this is a brand which will provide lots of potential to people who want to fashion their own Transformers-y bots. Of course this one doesn't transform. Look at it, how would it? I've got 2 torsos in here somewhere. Yeah, I just wanted to show you this, but also point out that it will not stand up because it's so back heavy. I mean, I'm doing this now because my hand providing a variable balancing platform, but yeah, Constructbots need better knees and ankles because these will not support this level of raditude on the back here. That's also providing me with a little segue into a future video which I've had planned for quite a while, but I've just been sort of accruing photos to put into it, of all this possible potential that Constructbots can provide you with, even though I've only got 2 of them. So look out for that soon. It's probably just going to be a photo montage thing with probably reusing Dave's music that he gave me to use on the Unicron Trilogy video I did. But beside the point, I would like to see if you've got any Constructbots and if you make lovely things like this with them. You probably don't, because everyone that I've sort of had comment on my video say, Constructbots, they look quite good, but I'm not really bothered about getting into a new brand because it's a bit like Creo all over again, and Creo wasn't very good, was it? I don't know. If you made something epic, I'd like to see, and I'm sure other people would too. That's your lot for now.